circle it's making?
I come up with 7.5.
Well, just measure across those tire tracks. Let's see, we can demo this. If CJ, if you want to go stick your head in the agitator.
I'll pass.
9 feet turning radius, yeah. Or wall to wall, really.
Yeah.
So the turning radius would be half of that. So we've got 4 ways. So CJ sticks his head in the agitator while you're mixing. There's 4 ways to stop the agitator. The first is just to turn off the key. You guys want to help me out and point at things? Okay, turn off the key, turn off the agitator switch and just tell it to stop. Or hitting the e-stop foot switch thing that's kind of doubles as a brake and kills some of the hydraulics. Or just leap off the seat because there's a seat present switch in there. And if you ever had trouble, maybe those wires came unhitched. That's common in a lot of industrial equipment. So that's the 4 ways to kill it or shut it off in the event of an emergency. I suppose you could also probably choke the engine. I don't know. Anyway, to start it, okay, so get on there and don't start the engine, but let's go through the activate the everything. So you turn the key on, and what you see is a blinking green light down there. Blinking green light means no go, okay? So in order to activate anything on this machine, you have to be sitting in the seat and you push the green button. That's the hydraulic enable or movement enable button. But that still won't always do it. To go forward and back, we have a crowd or a creep control here, or you want to call it cruise control. It's got a detent that you can feel in the center, and it has to be centered in order to go. If it's centered, then the light stops blinking, and so you can start the engine without fear of the thing moving forward or back. Yeah, okay. You hit the brake, hit the foot switch. Okay, that stops it. Okay. And then the blinky light says it's got an e-stop or something. And now if you go back to 0 on that, can you make it go again? There we go. So that's basic controls. We got the levers for the hopper gate up and down, and the chute up and down, but we also have chute side shift. So show the side shift function. So that'll help you keep all zeroed on your trench as you're going. So you got 2 ways to get back on target. We can make a variety of chutes for this. A lot of people have different widths they want. Some of them want the flat skid plate on the bottom, some don't. These 2 zerks on both sides of the machine are pretty important. And I'll show you where they go. They go to these seal assemblies in here that keep the grease out of, well, from escaping down that shaft. So that box packs full of grease. There's some metal plates in there and some rubber washers. And so as long as you give them a shot of grease once a week or so, you're going to be just fine. The beater bars here don't actually scrape the sides of the tub. So that eliminates a wear of another machine that we all know and love. Also, this tub is twice as thick as the other machine, so it will last a lot longer under normal use. We're taking it out on a trial before we ship it today. Put some grout in there and run it really hard, and that stretches this chain. And the chain, there's a lot of force here. This chain always gets stretched quite a bit, so we just want to make sure it's pre-stretched before we deliver it. Now here's an important little hole in the side of this machine. Okay, you have to stick a socket in there with an extension on it, and there's a bolt in there on the side of the hydrostatic transmission. And you give it a full counterclockwise turn, and it will freewheel, and you can tow it or push it. I wouldn't really suggest actually towing it any distance, but if it's broke down and you can't move it, because it won't move if the engine's not running. That hydrostatic transmission is not going to let it roll. It's not going to let it move. It's locked up tight. So that's how you get it to go. We put this little thing that you might recognize off the back of a speedboat over the fuel gauge, because if you've ever run a Zon, you'll see those fuel gauges are obliterated with grout right off the bat. I would recommend shutting off the fuel if you're transporting it over, by trailer. These Kohler engines are known for getting flooded. However, this engine carburetor is roughly the same level as the top of the fuel level, so it may not be as prone to do that as the more vertically oriented other machine. If you can see down in there, just a few bolts and this hood comes off. And you can, once this hood's off, you can get to every hydraulic hose in the machine, either here or just by getting under it. There's not a half a dozen plastic pieces to take off. It's made to be easily worked on. We hope you never have to work on it. So I don't know what else there is to say about it. Please grease these packs. There's also a Zerk up on this bearing, and there's one over here, but those are sealed and lubricated and will last, you can go a year without unservicing those. We did away with that funky little connector that these vibrator motors always come with. It's a great cause of issues. The connector is poor. It makes poor connection. It's not sealed. It shorts out. So we did away with that. It's got a Deutz connector on it, which is kind of an industry standard. Here's your hydraulic level and a temperature gauge. There's no point, there's nothing to be gained by having it any more full than that. So what else can I tell you? That looks like more like 12 or 15 feet. That circle it's making.
I come up with 7.5.
Well, just measure across those tire tracks.